Yeah, salute. I apologize. There was something wrong with the sound. I had some technical difficulties, but I'm back. So, like I was saying, it's a lot going on with the government, and a lot of people upset or they're starting to get upset or offended. But what's going on is this: it's time for things to be improved overall, not only with jobs and corporations and businesses and companies and life. We need a better quality of life because for so long we've been living the same lifestyle. We've been living the same way for so long. And we may believe or think that we ready for these improvements, for these changes. And it takes a lot of time for changes to take place. But it's not more consistent to change. And we need that change right now because the way things was, it's not working any longer. And we got to get back to morals and values, like the things that we valued 20, 30 years ago ain't the things that we value today, like our time. Like everybody wants, or a lot of people, excuse me, looking for notoriety. Everybody, or a lot of people, looking for attention or likes and mentions. And you know what? A lot of times people forget themselves in the process of that. Okay, how you doing, friend? You from Korea? Thanks for tapping into the live stream. I appreciate it. Thanks for that. No, this is not promotion, friend. This is talk. This is not promotion. So if you're looking for a wrench, I don't do that. This is a podcast. This is not me just giving out wrenches. All right, so back to what I was saying. So the government has been relied upon for the last 100 whatever years. Somebody tapped in. Let me see. Oh, salute. Shout out to the Black Manosphere. This is a very deep dude. Peace and power to this brother. He carried a live stream I had maybe like a week or so ago. So whoever comes in the chat or whoever's in the chat, salute to this brother. So I'm good, brother. I'm on the government right now, brother. That's what it is for the night. I mean, if you want to come up, I'll drop the link. But if you're gonna be in the chat, you could be in the chat. It's not a problem. But I just really tapped in. So just let me know what's going on, brother. But I'm on the government though. You know what I mean? And peace and blessings to you and your family, man. Yeah, but so the government, they gotta make necessary changes. That's just life right now. Those necessary changes gotta come in. Like they gotta be made. And I understand that certain people gonna feel singled out or they're gonna believe as if they're being picked on. And it's not that. It's that certain things been in place for 30, 40, 50 years. And certain people that should have been taken in those situations, they didn't do that. And that's not on the government. That's on the people who was in position to take advantage of those situations. Like I understand that the government give people various different opportunities to do whatever it is they looking to do. Nothing's going to be handed to anyone, but they're going to put people in position to do certain things. It's all on how you take advantage of those situations when they arrive. And that's just life. That's not only with the government, that's with a job, that's with a corporation, that's with any business you into. So the government was built around and based upon business. Now, maybe some of the people that was in office wasn't handling business, and some of the people that was in office was handling business. But it's based off and it's based around business. And there's so many various different sections and areas in the government that's been failing. So now it's time to upgrade those sections and or agencies that's connected to the government. It's the same thing with a job. So you could be working at Walmart and it might be time for them to upgrade the cashiers or upgrade the cash registers, or it might be time for them to upgrade customer service or the people who stock the shelves. That don't mean that they trying to get rid of all the employees, or that don't mean they believe their employees or their business is failing, but it's time to upgrade that. Why? So for one, you could keep the customers that you got coming in. Secondly, you could get more customers coming in, and you could also apply yourself to the new customers that will come in. You could draw them in by changing up certain things. So it's like changing up the way that you present your products. And in words of the government or Congress, that's what they're about to do. Change the way that they present their products. because the way that things have been going, everybody's going through mental health crisis, or majority of people going through mental health crisis. Excuse me for that. So at least 75% of the world, not just America, the world, and other countries, it's like everywhere now, and it's been more under the microscope since we had the pandemic. So now, with all this mental health going on, everybody's prone and susceptible to something. And when things don't go right, certain people tend to blame the government. They don't blame themselves, for example, for being in a situation and making better moves. So if you've been able, for example, to file your taxes for 15 years straight and you ain't do nothing with that money, you ain't stack none of it, you ain't invest none of it, all you did was buy clothes or a car or jewelry. And ain't nothing wrong with buying you a car, some clothes, or some jewelry. But if you didn't look to invest none of that money over 15 years, that's a long time you have gotten money. And you got to make a move with that. Just like it's the same way some people been working for or working with the government and they haven't taken advantage of whatever perks they've been given for working with or dealing with the government. You have to take advantage of that. It's like if you work for a company and they give you medical benefits just because you haven't gotten sick don't mean you shouldn't have took advantage of the medical benefits, going to the doctor, getting checkups. And that's a blessing if you haven't got sick. That's a blessing. However, though, but you go get some checkups, go find out how them benefits work. Like, because you may not never have gotten sick, which is a blessing. However, you may not also not have looked into those benefits. And now you may get frustrated with that job, or that job may have budget cuts. And now it's like you may get laid off and you never really found out how you could have used those benefits. Or you may quit or get fired or go to another job. And it's like the next job may pay you more. The benefits might not be how your last job was. Or you might have to put money into your benefits a little bit more than your last job. And it's like, man, I don't really get sick like that, or I don't really be going to the doctor. Look into it. And that's kind of people's fault, that they don't like to investigate or do homework or research. That's why I appreciate the time that I grew up in the late 80s and the 90s. You had to do research. You had to read the books. And I'm not discrediting this era or this generation because they have Google or they have AI to help them. No, what I'm saying is, though, by having to put in the work, I'm not lackadaisical when it comes to doing the homework or research on something on my own. So when I go to the doctor, I'm not just gonna take the doctor's word of what they saying medication can help me with, because if it's a side effect, they may not know what it came from. So when things don't go right, I'm not gonna just blame the government. So I'm not gonna just be like, it's the government fault. This ain't right. It's my fault because I'm not paying attention. Hey, what's going on, Lady J? What's up, sister? How you doing on this Saturday evening, night, or morning, wherever you may be located at? What where you at? East Coast, West Coast, another country? Like what time zone you located in, sister? I'll give you some time to respond to that before I get back into the content. Yeah, so while this sister's gonna respond, But yeah, so I don't shit, but it's not in favor. Oh, so you okay, so you're on Eastern Standard Time. All right. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So where I'm going with this is that for so long we rely on things that's not reliable. We don't, or we're not self-sufficient, and we don't get that way until our backs is against the wall. And anytime you do something and it's forced or you pressured to do it, you don't perform up to your best capabilities. So if you forced to go to work at a certain time, you're not going to perform up to your best capabilities for that company or for that corporation or at that job, because you force, maybe if you don't like to get up early. So if you got to be to work at 7 o'clock, you may want to you may want a job where you got to be there at 9 o'clock, but you like the pay and you like the benefits from this job at 7 o'clock. So you kind of forced to deal with it, but you know you really want to be to work at 9 o'clock. You still get it done, but it's not the same, because you know if you don't get it done, you won't be paid, or you won't be hired, or you'll be let go. But if you got that job that was at 9 o'clock, or you wanted to come in at 9, you may be getting paid less. The benefits may not be the same. So you're like, nah, I really want this money. So that's what I mean by we get compromised by things a lot. So that's why I be confused when people criticize the government or people criticize celebrities saying they selling their soul. I truly believe everybody is compromised when it comes to getting, having, or making money. It's all on what you willing to do or what you don't want to do. See, me, I know I'm out to be monetized and make money off the internet. However, I'm not willing to talk about other people. I'm not willing to gossip. I'm not willing to spread hate. I'm not willing to spread propaganda or rumors. I'm willing to speak about my pain and what I've been through. And for those who want to hear it, I appreciate that. Those who don't, stay blessed. But I'm not going to do things the way that others want me to do it to make money neither. And if what I'm doing ain't sufficient enough, I'm going to come up with a better, more constructive way. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame someone else for where I'm at. I control me. I answer up. It's God first, then me, then anybody else that's in my life. And I'm thankful for those who love me and appreciate me. But if I don't love me and appreciate me, I can't be mad at them. See, the issue become when you start to blame other people and other things, you giving up on yourself. You giving up on yourself. And that's my problem with a lot of things in life nowadays. That's why I started my platform for motivation and inspiration. However, you gotta always believe in yourself. It don't matter what anybody's saying on any platform, on any website. You gotta do that. It don't matter if your husband don't believe in you no more, or your wife, or your kids, or your coworkers, or your neighbors, or your family. See, that's another thing about this spiritual journey that's real to me. Why I only have spirituality and not religion. Because when you believe in God, God always believe in us, but we start to have doubt in God. I'm gonna say that again. God always believe in us, but we start to have doubt and believing in God. And that happens when people get connected to so many religious groups. And that's why it's so many people against one another. Because if I'm all for God, that don't mean that I'm anti-religion. I'm just all for God. And God didn't tell me I have to have a religion to believe in God. So that means now, because I'm all for God, that I don't like Christians. That's not true. I don't like Baptists. That's not true. I don't like Muslims. That's not true. I don't like Pentecostals. That's not true. I'm just all for God. Thank you, sister. I appreciate that. So when we get into the notion that we say we believe in God, we believe in God. So why is it an issue? Other people say, I believe in God, I don't have a religion. Why you don't have a religion? That shouldn't even be questioned. The same way, if I say God, or if I say Yahweh or the Elohim, or I say Yahshua, I'm saying, but I call God something else. I'm not mad at what you call God. I'm not questioning what you call God. I'm questioning belief or faith. And that's how come a lot of people have problems, because they so caught up in a religion or being religious that they losing themselves in their spirituality. I had to learn that the hard way. And you're right, we all children of God. That's a fact. All I'm saying is that people get so caught up in their religious belief or being religious, they lose themselves in believing in God. I'm spiritual, so it's going to be hard for me to lose myself in a religious belief or being religious, because I believe that I can learn something from a Christian, from a Baptist, from a Pentecostal, from a Muslim, from a Buddhist, from any religious people. I believe I can learn something from. However, despite what someone's religion is, if their spirit ain't right, it don't matter. God is not about money. God is about belief, faith, spirituality. Because like I said, I know a lot of religious people and people that have religion, but they still smoke, they still drink, they still have an unprotected sex, they still got kids out of wedlock. And I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying I know a lot of people like that. That's what I'm saying. So if they believe in God and take the religion away, they won't have to be worried about being persecuted by people that's dealing with religion. Because if those people that's into religion or have a religious belief, they won't worry about being judged, because only God can do that anyway. So it don't really matter about what religion you into, because God gonna guide you regardless. I'm not knocking preachers, pastors, reverends, deacons, popes. I don't have no issue with none of those people. But I'm a man of God, and I don't need a religious book. Or I don't need a person that say they have a certain religious belief to tell me how to believe in or to praise God, or where to keep my faith at, or when to keep my faith, or how to keep my faith. Because I don't never tell nobody that on my platform. I studied all different religions at one point. And again, I was doing that because I was around so many various different people. And that's what's going on today in society, why we have so many people being controlled, because people trying to appease to so many other people. I did a live like 2 or 3 lives ago, and I said, people got to start saying no to other things and other people and start saying yes to themselves. They hear God word more clearer. But when you listening to everything and everybody else, God words start getting distorted, because other people telling you, well, if you a Baptist, then you don't really believe in God. Christianity It's causing separation and confusion. And who wants to be confused? Well, again, people know how to play with people's emotions when it comes to belief and or religion. That's why I always tell people I'm spiritual because, again, I have met people who have religion and their spirit not right. That's why I don't do black, white, Asian, Jewish. That's why I don't do that, because if I strictly go off somebody being black or somebody being white, that's separation. That's a money grab for me to think, or for me to believe, or allow people to convince me that somebody that's white hate me, or they don't have love for me, or somebody Asian hate me and they don't have love for me. Because I have dealt with people of all shapes, sizes, forms, and cultural backgrounds. They dealt with me based off my spirit, based off my attitude, based off my energy, based off my vibes, not based off colorism or how much money I got. They dealt with me based off my character and the way I conducted myself. And when I finally started to hold myself accountable, when my behavior was reckless, when my attitude wasn't right, I had to own up to that. See, when I look in the mirror, I'm not looking at my face and my clothes. I'm looking at reflection, meaning who I was yesterday and who I'm looking to be today and who I'm becoming. And when you coming from the bottom of the ocean and you going to the top of the mountain, I'm not looking back down, back at the ocean and look down on people. I'm looking back on who I used to be, and I'm saying later or bye to the person that I used to be, and I'm saying hi to the person that I know I'm looking to become. Because a lot of people got to understand, when you going to a higher level, when you trying to get the best out of yourself to become the best for yourself, you got to look back at who you used to be to understand you don't want to be that no more. To become great, you got to be grateful. And self-reflection is how you do that. Like I said, I have plenty friends, family, co-workers, people that I used to deal with, but I had to self-reflect, and I had to start saying yeah to myself. And I understand that I maybe have tarnished relationships. However, however, I wasn't right. So that relationships or those relationships would not have flourished anyway, because I wasn't right, even if they was right. I wasn't. So once you get yourself together and you want to spin the block and go back to those relationships, if it's meant to be, you go back. And that relationship could be with mother, father, children, co-workers, neighbors. That doesn't mean anything any longer. And like I said before, God said it best. It's best that a man or a woman is hated by the world and not accepted by God. I'm going to say that again. God said it doesn't matter if a man or a woman is hated by the world as long as they're accepted by him. And that's perspective on society in the world now. I know people hating on God. I know people hate God, but God loves everybody. Everybody don't love God. See, people are comfortable with being uncomfortable. See, I love the fact that I was uncomfortable, so now I'm gonna get comfortable. I'm gonna say that again. People are comfortable with being uncomfortable. I was loving the fact that I was uncomfortable. Now I'm gonna get comfortable. I'm comfortable with the fact of who I'm becoming and where I came from. See, I know where I came from, so I know where I got to get to now. I came from the bottom of the ocean. I'm gonna make it to the top of the mountain, not to look down on anyone, to look down on who I used to be, so I don't have to be that any longer. Lady J, if you want to come up, I'll drop the link. If you want to come up and had a conversation with me, I don't mind. Let me know if you want to come up. So you let me know if you want to come up. I'll drop the link for you. But yeah, I mean, I know where I came from and I know where I'm looking to get to now. And that's important. You know, people looking for validation from so many various different people that don't know, that don't care about them, that won't love them, that won't know how to love them, that won't know how to be there with them or for them. You got to learn how to be there for yourself. You got to validate yourself. And they end up losing themselves, like I said, due to the fact that they telling everybody else yes and other things yes, and they neglecting themselves. You got to learn how to not neglect yourself. See, certain people only do that when they get upset or they have an argument or they want to prove something to someone. I'm doing it to prove this to myself. I'm proving to myself that I'm loving the man that I'm becoming because I know the man that I used to be, I wasn't living righteous. Oh no, that's a problem, Lady J. It's not a problem. So now that I'm on a different path in my life, of course people going to say things, but they were saying things when I wasn't living righteous, when I wasn't being authentic though. So now that I'm authentic, it don't mean nothing what they going to say because I got to do this for me. This is why mental health is out of control because so many people are comfortable with validation from someone else and not themselves. And like I said, it take them for them to get upset or it take for them to go through something with somebody for them to understand how to do things for them. They in relationships they know they don't want to be in. They're around people they know they don't like. They working at a job they know they don't want to be at. They spending money they don't got. They look in a certain way to appease a woman or to appease a man. And again, and again, you got to do this for you. And when you do things for you, of course, people are going to be upset. But I want to ask this: when you're doing things with people, why they still upset? Or when you're doing things for people, why they still upset? And I understand that life ain't perfect. That's not about life being perfect. It's about how you doing things with someone or for someone, and they're still not content with it. So just start doing things for you. I could certify this. When people start doing more things for themselves and with themselves, they'll be a lot more happier because they know how to make themselves happy. Other people only loving the fact that somebody is loving them more than they love themselves. I'm gonna say that again. People only loving the fact that other people love them more than they love themselves. So if it's a dude, he only loving the fact that the female loving him more than he love himself. If it's a woman, she only loving the fact that the dude is loving her more than she loving herself. Because people become their worst enemy when they got to spend time alone. They don't want to sit in the dark. They don't want to sit in solitary confinement and get to know themselves. So now, when you got to spend time alone, that bother people. They get lonely. Exactly. Speak loud and proud. You got to get to know you. You got to spend time alone. See, I appreciate it when people isolated me. So, for instance, or for example, when I was told that I wasn't a real man or a real brother or a real father, and I had to reinvent myself and I had to find myself. In the beginning, it did bother me. But once I learned I had to get away from all that to really find myself, I was thankful that they told me that because it made me do the research and the homework on myself because I had to define the type of man that I wanted to become. That's right, Lady J. They scared of themselves. And they're not only scared of themselves, they fearing who they know they really are, let alone they fearing who they know they becoming. So what they do is they project their fear onto other people. They plant their insecurities on other people. So when someone else says, "Look, I don't want to drink no more," oh, all of a sudden, why you want to stop drinking? I don't want to smoke no more. Why you want to stop smoking? And say you gotta do what's best for you. I don't tell somebody not to do it or to do it. I just tell them they gotta do what's best for them. Whatever that decision may be, if they just gotta do what's best for them. Because I understand when I had to start doing what was best for me, like I said, a lot of relationships I had with people got worse. But I know when I was dealing with people and I wasn't doing the right thing, they constantly told me that. And it wasn't about them being right and I was wrong. It was just the fact that I had to reevaluate my situation now. That's what I'm talking about. And when I reevaluated my situation, I had to take self accountability. So it's like if you living with somebody and you don't got money no more, and when you had money, you was giving them money, or you was going half with the bills or whatever you was doing, and now you fall upon hard times. Somebody tell you you can't stay with them no more. Don't be upset. Just understand when you do get back right and you're able to get some income or you're able to bounce back, you know to avoid people like that and make better decisions. Don't take it personal, just make better decisions. So when it's time for you to start making decisions to elevate yourself, understand that people who truly, sincerely know what that journey is about, they're going to congratulate you on your growth and your self elevation and continue to wish you peace and prosperity on your journey. But people that's not taking that journey, they're going to personally attack you. Like I said, material hate is different from personal hate. Material hate is when you get things, cars, jewelry, clothes, people going to let you know, oh, you think you all that because you got a new car, or you got a new hairdo, or you got new shoes, or you got a nice chain, or a nice watch, or a nice bracelet. But when it's personal, they're going to challenge you. They're going to question it because they know they're not ready to question themselves and challenge themselves. So they're going to question and challenge you because you're looking for that growth and that elevation. And that's not easy to do. Self-reflection is the hardest thing to do because now it's time for you to find yourself. And people are so lost and engulfed in what somebody else think or what somebody else got to say or someone else's business that they forget themselves. And people start neglecting themselves. And they put so much time and effort and energy into other things and other people, they lose themselves. See, what I appreciate about me being on this self-awareness, self-respect, self-confidence, and self-esteem journey, even though I cut a lot of things and a lot of people out, I cut them things out and off for me. Other people cut me off and out for other things and other people. They didn't even do it for themselves, meaning they didn't cut me off for them. They did it for other things and other people. I cut things and people out of my life for me, to better me, to find myself, not for other people and other things, though. So that means, should I've been in a relationship, I didn't cut that relationship short for my friends, for my family, for my kids, for my moms, for my father. I did it to better me. Now, those people cut me out their life for other things and other people, not for themselves. And I'm not being judgmental, I'm just speaking facts. And once I understood that people like to cut people off for other things and other people, I was so thankful that I got on this journey for myself. Because, like I said, I didn't cut people off and cut people out my life for other things and other people, meaning I didn't cut people off for money. I didn't cut people off for cars, jewelry, clothes. I didn't cut people off because other people that I was around didn't like them or didn't respect them. I cut them off to better me, to do self-evaluation, to do self-reflection. Even if they told me I had a bad attitude, even if they told me they didn't like my ways and actions, I appreciated that, but I didn't cut them off for other things and other people. And that's a lot of people's problem nowadays. They're in relationships and they let their brother dictate, their sister dictate, their mother dictate, their father dictate. They let the reverend dictate. They let the pastor dictate. They let social media dictate. They let the job dictate. They let money dictate. They don't dictate. And that's why mental health is out of control because everybody's listening to someone else when it comes to their life, when it comes to their situation, when it comes to their circumstances. Exactly, exactly, Lady J. So I had to learn the hard way to stop doing that. Stop allowing other things and other people to dictate how I'm going to live my life and how my relationship's going to flourish or not. So even if my mom's telling me, "Yo, I don't like your woman, or I don't like the person you had a baby by." I got to deal with that person, and I got to be there to raise that child. But I'm not gonna let my mom or somebody dictate how I need to be a man or a father. Of course, I'm gonna listen, but I'm not gonna allow them to dictate the way I need to be, who I need to be for me. Definitely when I'm not disrespecting them. Definitely when I'm not doing that. Definitely when I'm not pushing harm or hurt or hate their way. It don't matter. And so many people got so many other people in their ear. That's why I'm only on YouTube, because I'm thankful for people who are willing to give me time out their life to listen to my lives or my pre-recorded videos or subscribe to my platform. But if I got Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, all these other websites, that's a lot that I want people to keep up with me with. And I don't want to take all that time out of somebody else's life. I appreciate it if somebody see me that important, but I don't want to take all that time out their life though. Like, I'm living my life, so I'm not gonna devote a lot of time out of my life to all those things. Because that's a lot of time you got to devote to put into various different platforms. Because it's like you got all these websites when you got time for yourself. I don't need that validation. I get the validation when God wake me up every single day. That's validation. And I can move forward with that. So whoever ain't loving me, whoever ain't there for me, I got to be there for me regardless. But the more I be there for myself, the easier life is becoming. And I get it. Some people gonna say I neglected them, or I never loved them, or I never cared about them. I'm not here to debate that. But the $1,000,000 question is, do they love themselves? Are they there for themselves? Or are they worrying about how other people gonna be there with them and for them? And what happens when those people that they believe are gonna be there with them and for them ain't there no more? What happens then? Because I was in that predicament. When people stopped being there for me, I end up being homeless. I end up having a low self-esteem. I end up having low confidence because I was so reliant on other people. But when I had to become self-sufficient and self-reliant, I didn't look at nobody else but me now. Because when I was riding situations with people, they still was unhappy or uncomfortable or told me I could have did more or could have did better. And I was going back and forth with people about things that was healthy for my mental health, and that wasn't important to them. So if I told people I don't believe in the 4th of July, I don't believe in Christmas, I don't believe in holidays, why am I having a debate match about what I don't believe in? If you believe in it, that's you. I don't want to celebrate that. I'm not stopping you, but I don't want to celebrate that. So I had to start looking at that like, hold on, I got into an argument with this person because I ain't believe in holidays. And I understand even if we had a child together, that don't have nothing to do with the type of man or father that I'm gonna be or becoming because I don't believe in holidays. So if you want to celebrate Christmas and I don't, that don't make me less than a man or less than a father, because I'm like, I'm not gonna buckle down and just focus on spending money on this particular time or this particular date or this particular day. But when people are so caught up in what people said they should do, they push that energy your way. So because the world said spend money on Christmas. If I decide not to spend money on Christmas, how am I getting into an argument? How am I not a real man or a real father if I don't spend money on Valentine's Day? If I don't celebrate Easter? If I don't light fireworks on the 4th of July? If I don't want to get with people on Thanksgiving? Every time I eat a meal, that's a feast to me because I know the struggles of getting a meal prepared for me. I know the struggles of having food, getting food. So every time I can eat, from my perspective, that's Thanksgiving. That's a feast. It could be a bowl of cereal or it could be a full course meal. That's a feast to me. So I get it. So for me to buckle down only on one day to say I'm thankful for my mom or my dad or my family, I'm thankful for these people every day. But if they only thankful on one day, that's them. And that's right. It's all about money. That's all it's about. It's all about a dollar. See, at least I'm telling people I'm on here now. I'm close to being monetized. So now that I'm close to being monetized, I'm going to do what I got to do to get monetized. Now, people going to criticize me. I'm not mad at that. At least I'm being honest. People out here playing with people's emotions to get their money, telling people what to believe in, how to believe in it, telling people what to follow, what to worship. I don't want nobody following me, not even my own kids. Now, I lead by example. And if people look to me for leadership, I'm thankful, but I don't want nobody following me. That's why I'm thankful to be on YouTube and it says subscribe and not follow. That's one of my huge issues with Instagram. It says follow. And so many people say they leaders, but they quick to hit a button on a website that say follow. To me, I'm a leader, so why am I following anybody? And I'm not mad at people at all, but I'm just being realistic. I could learn things from people, yes, but I'm not following anything or anybody. I answer up. God gonna give me a sense of direction. That's all I need. God is gonna give me a sense of direction. And when God give me that sense of direction, God gonna always guide me the right way. Now, should I decide to make my own way or go my own way, I got to be prepared for whatever's going to come. But every time I've taken a direction God gave me, I've always been able to prosper. Always. And that have nothing to do with no spiritual books. That have nothing to do with no religious books. That have sheerly based off the word of God. Oh, I get it though. Since I'm not reading out the Quran or out the Bible, I can't speak the word of God. And this is how so many people have discrepancies when it comes to religion because they have a book that's telling them how they need to believe or when they need to believe or what they need to worship. And again, I'm not upset about it or with anyone about anything. I'm just pointing it out. And that's another thing. When you point things out, people get so offended and they get so emotional that they forget that all you doing is pointing something out. I don't have time to be upset. This earth is a beautiful place to be on and to be living on. But certain people have to understand that how you feel don't make you right. I always say that when it comes to life. How I feel don't make me right. My opinion only matters to me. That's why I'm entitled to that. It only matters to me. And ego and pride could get you unalive or get you locked up. So my ego and pride have nothing to do with facts. Facts is I'ma die. I don't know when or how. I'm gonna say that again. The facts is I'ma die. I don't know when or how. But my opinion only matters to me. I'm not gonna let my ego and pride get in the way. When I dealt with foolishness, stupidity, and ignorance, it did. It really did. Because I messed up a lot of genuine situations by having ego and pride be in the way. Because I'm worrying about what somebody else gonna think or say or believe. Now that I'm maturing, now that I'm evolving. Because when I was out there doing foolishness and stupidity, it didn't matter. But now that I'm going the right way, I can't worry about what people going to say and think. Because when I wasn't doing the right thing, they told me about myself. When I wasn't being the man I needed to be, people told me about it. When I wasn't being the father I needed to be, people told me about it. Rightfully so. So now that I'm doing what's right for my mental health, I can't worry about what nobody going to say. That's why so many people breaking down mentally because they in unwarranted situations. They know they struggling with being there with their mom or with their dad or with their wife or with their husband or being there for their children, but they still trying to fight it out, saying, oh, if I don't fight this out, that make me weak. No, that actually make you strong because you're doing the right thing for your mental health. And make you weak when you're in a situation and you know something at the end of the day is going to make you get out of character. It's going to make you lose control. And once you, like I said, you could lose cars, clothes, money, shoes, jewelry. But once you lose your mind, you may not be able to get it back. You may not be able to get it back. You could always go back and spend a block in a relationship with a family member or with one of your children or with your mom or your dad. But once you lose your mind, you may not be able to get it back. And a lot of people take that for granted. A lot of people take that for granted. So that's why the slightest and the lightest things is pushing people over the edge. It's like, damn, why that person snapped over that? Because they dealing with so much unwarranted pressure from looking to fulfill obligations that they know they can't fulfill. They know they can't fulfill those obligations. And that's a fact, Lady J. That's a fact, Lady J. Like people know they can't fulfill certain things, but they think they stand strong by staying in an unwarranted situation. Or they let other people bait them in with guilt, with emotionalism. Oh, well, if you ain't there for these kids, you ain't a real mother, you ain't a real father, you ain't a real man. If you can't help me with these bills, it's like, I can help you with the bills, but I only got X amount of money. I'm willing to be there for my kids, but this is what I could do. And it's like when you stay in those situations, now your mental health is in jeopardy because you know certain things you're unable to do. You're not weak for telling someone you can't do something based around your mental health or your peace and happiness. So people be in relationships knowing they're only in that relationship because the other person may make them feel guilty, or they worrying about what family gonna say, or what friends gonna say, or they worrying about maybe the kid may think, oh, my father didn't love me or my mother didn't love me. That's not true. Mental health is important. This is why so many people is unaliving family members, unaliving the husband, or unaliving a wife, or unaliving children because they dealing with too much from a mental health perspective. They dealing with too much. And now those same psychologists or those same doctors or psychiatrists that was able to prescribe certain medications, those medications are not working any longer. People really need to have a sit down with their mom or their dad or their children or their husband or their wife and have that real conversation. Look, I love you, dad, or I love you, mom. However, I'm under pressure to look to fulfill this obligation. I don't want to go the way you went, mom. I don't want to go the way you went, dad. Or look, I love you, my daughter, you my son. However, I'm going through a lot mentally right now. And if I got to stay in this situation, I may say something or do something that is going to hurt this family. And I don't want to do that. I understand you need me, or understand I should be here for you mentally, spiritually, financially. But I got to withdraw out the situation to get me together because I don't want to hurt other people because I'm not right. And it's not I'm going to hurt anyone physically. I could hurt people spiritually. I could hurt people psychologically. I could hurt people mentally. And when you do that, some people ridicule you. Some people shame you. Some people bait you in with guilt. Some people bait you in with emotionalism because they insecure, because they not confident in themselves. And now that you're starting to see the areas that you weak in, they getting upset because they know they've been weak. But now that you're sharing the strength in yourself, they're getting upset with you because they don't want to look at themselves. And when you start to become stronger, people get to see how shallow they really are, how transparent they really becoming because you're seeing strength in yourself. And now you don't hear all the unnecessary chitter chatter. You get to hear yourself think and you get to hear the words that God is really saying to you. So, like I said, that don't mean you don't love your child or your wife or your husband or your family. But this is how come mental health is out of control because people are in unwarranted situations. They like, yo, I'm only gonna stay in this right here because of the money. Or if I leave, I'm gonna be homeless. Or if I do this, I don't want to be on child support. Or if I leave, that's why I made that video. If I was you syndrome, you got to do what's best for you. And that's not a bad thing. You're not weak for doing what's best for you. You weak when you stay in a situation and you know it could become toxic. And I don't mean toxic for as anything physical. I mean toxic for as mental, for as financial, for as spiritual, for as psychological. How it could become toxic spiritually because now your spirit ain't right because you in a situation and your spirit is gonna go against you because your spirit ain't gonna be right and things ain't gonna sit right with your spirit because you're gonna be uncomfortable in a situation your spirit know you shouldn't be in. Financially, you committing yourself to something that you can't fulfill no more. Psychologically, it's gonna always be on your mind. And the littlest thing that happened is gonna tip you off and take you over the edge. And now you're gonna snap and you're gonna lose it. And that's what we see happening throughout the world now. People snapping because they're in situations they don't want to be in. And what make all that worse, even though they know they don't want to be in it, they don't want to be with themselves. So that's why they have mental health problems. They don't want to be with themselves. Because when you with yourself now, you got to blame you when things ain't right. So when you're around other people, you get to blame them. That's why I love being to myself. So when something ain't right, I could blame myself. If you in a vehicle and you driving and somebody behind you honking their horn, you got three options. Argue with them, pull to the side, and let them go past you, or speed up and maybe you could rear in somebody else. What I would do is I would go with the second one. I would just pull to the side and let them go. I only can control my car. See, the thing is, it's not what people say and do to you, it's how you respond. I'm going to say that again. It's not what people say and do to you, it's how you respond. That's what's going on, sister. A lot of people getting deceived spiritually. A lot of people are deceived spiritually. And they deceived spiritually because they didn't allow their spirit and their soul to be connected so God could give them the message that's for them. See, the thing I learned about spirituality that's real, God has a message for everybody individually. But what we looking to do spiritually is get the message collectively. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. See, I learned that the hard way. My spirit and my soul is connected so I could get the message God has for me. I might could connect with someone and we both could believe in God, but the message that God got for us is for us. It's not for other people. And that's why people going through what they're going through because they think their message from God is for somebody else. God message is for you. And a lot of people don't know how to accept that, let alone they don't know how to embrace that. So at the end of the day, it's time now for self-reflection. But people only look at themselves when they got a new hairdo, or they got a haircut, or they take their do-rag off, or they just got their hair braided, or they got a makeover, or they got a facial, or they got on makeup, or they got on jewelry, or they got on a new outfit. I look at myself every day and I'm loving the fact that I'm seeing a new man and a better man every day. And I'm looking in that same mirror to say, you know what? I'm thankful I ain't who I used to be. I ain't neglecting myself no more. I ain't pushing my mental health to the side. And now I end up getting into arguments and debates and having headaches because I'm arguing with other people. And I don't fight with other people no more. I fight with myself. And I fight for myself. But again, people think they only connected to God through a religion or a religious book. Your spirit and your soul got to be aligned. So now when your spirit and your soul is aligned, you could be one with God because it's mind, body, soul, and spirit. I'm going to say it again. It's mind, body, soul, and spirit. And it don't matter what your religion is. It matters where your spirituality is. That's what God sees. God knows everybody's heart. But see, for you to be one with God, you got to start knowing God's heart. You got to start knowing God plans for you and not make your own plans. But see, it's hard for people to get out of the world because it's so many distractions. The internet. The internet is a distraction. You got celebrities, that's a distraction. You got money as a distraction. You got sex as a distraction. You got TV distraction. You got movies. You got music. You got sports. It's so many distractions. So when you say people got to get out of the world, it's going to be hard when people don't know how to self-reflect and look at themselves and detox for a minute. See, when I started to detox, I not only detox from the world, I detox from myself. Like I had to ignore myself because I used to smoke. And one of the things that helped me from stop smoking was I had to detox away from myself. I had to tell myself no. So it became easier for me to tell other things and other people no. Thousands of people told me, you need to stop smoking. You need to do this. You will save money. You killing yourself. You know, it messes up your lungs. It messes up your body. It's messing with your breathing. And I'm not saying none of those people didn't love me or they wasn't right, but I had to tell myself that. And you not only lose a piece of mind, but you lose a piece of yourself because it's a piece of your spirit that's connected to them every time you argue with them about you. Not when you argue with them about them. No, when you argue with them about you, same thing. When they argue with you about them, they lose a piece of themselves. So I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. When you argue with someone about you, you lose a piece of you. When someone else argue with you about themselves, they lose a piece of themselves. So people got to understand that how real energy is, how real frequency is. It's like you could touch something or you could touch a person and you'll get that static electricity because we all got kinetic energy in us. So energy is real. Vibrations is real. When you get on a different vibration, it don't matter no more. When you get connected with God and your soul and your spirit intertwine with God and you get that alignment, it don't matter no more. The two women that dealt with Moses, when they bumped into each other, one of them said, I lost him when he was looking for God. You lost him when he found God. I'm going to say that again. The two women that dealt with Moses, when they bumped into each other or when they seen each other, one of them said, I lost him when he was looking for God. You lost him when he found God. And that's what energy does. That's what vibration does. Anybody that was a prophecy or that was able to prophesize, when they went on a journey, they did it without people and without things. I'm going to say that again. Anybody that was prophesizing or was a prophecy, when they did things, it was without people and without things. They made the moves alone when they was on a quest to seek higher learning and higher information and found themselves. No people and no things was involved. Strictly the word of God. That's that. And that's what's important. See, you right about that, Lady J. The flesh gonna always be weak. That's why it's mind over matter, because your mind gotta always matter, no matter where your body at. No matter where your body at, the mind always supposed to control everything. Long as the mind can control everything, your spirit and your soul gonna always be right. Spirit is beyond real, and a lot of people don't know how to embrace their own spirit, and they allow themselves to be under satanic attack all the time. I'm gonna say that again. They allow themselves to be under satanic attack a lot, and their spirit keep getting attacked because they vulnerable and susceptible, because they fighting with and for other things, and they not fighting with or for themselves. I'm gonna say that again. Their spirit is under attack because they fighting with and for other things and other people, and they not fighting with or for themselves. And they keep asking themselves why God not fighting with them or for them, because they not fighting with or for themselves. See, once you start fighting for yourself, it's no problem for God to fight with or for you, because you're fighting for yourself. But when you fighting with and for other people, God not gonna fight with you or for you. And that's all that matter to God. You gotta fight with and for yourself. That's all that matter. But how you want God to protect your spirit and protect your soul, and you not fighting with and for yourself? How? That don't make no sense. You can't make yourself defenseless and want God to defend your spirit and your soul. But when you start to defend your own spirit and your own soul, it's no problem for God to defend it, because God know now more than ever you need the defense mechanism in place. But if you're not defending your own spirit and soul, why should God make himself vulnerable for you? And a lot of people don't get that. That's why I always say people got to listen to learn or learn to listen. And if you don't have that inner belief, first and foremost, in yourself, how you gonna believe in God? See, a lot of people lack in confidence. They don't have confidence because they doing things that's low vibrational. You gotta have self-confidence, self-esteem, soul, self-respect, self-accountability. And sometimes when you have these things, you might have to be alone. You might have to isolate and separate. I'd rather be alone than be around people and all we do is have problems. So no matter what I go through, at least I'm by myself going through it. I don't want to be around people and there's problems. And again, I know life ain't perfect. I get that. I get that. However, though, we could communicate. We don't have to be perfect, but we ain't got to be in an unwarranted situation, because again, people love to put unwarranted pressure on others to perform to a certain standard. And who wrote those laws and bylaws that what's the standard? It's no pamphlet on how to be a mother. It's no pamphlet on how to be a father. It's no pamphlet on how to be a man. It's no pamphlet on how to be a woman. You got to learn that. You got to learn how to become a man, how to become a woman. You got to learn how to become a mother, how to become a father, how to become a neighbor, how to become a businessman or businesswoman. But when we out here, not even but however, when we out here and it's like, well, this is what this says and this is what that says. Okay. That don't mean that it applies to you. Not saying that it's wrong or it's right, but that don't mean it applies to you. That don't mean it apply to you. And you know what, Lady J? That's the main issue. You have to learn how to surrender to God. But people don't know how to surrender to God. Again, they fighting with others about them and not fighting for themselves and with themselves. You fight with yourself to surrender. You fight for yourself so you don't give in to other things and other people. That's how your soul and your spirit don't be corrupted no more. And this is not an easy process. It's not an easy process. See, that's one thing about when you start to get on this journey and you becoming the best version of yourself. The journey ain't easy, but it's worth it though. And we all are capable of making it happen. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. And once you get on that path, day by day, your spirit and your soul going to start to be more and more comfortable with going on this journey. The more and more you do, the more and more you stay committed and focused, your spirit and your soul gonna know how to stay the course. And when you want to relapse, so to speak, or deviate, your spirit and your soul won't allow you to. Because now you're being consistent. And the more consistent you become, the easier it'll be. And it's worth it though. See, that's the thing. People got to understand that this is actually worth it. But people think it's worth it to know about other people's business because they got money or they got status quo. See, when you start to learn yourself and you start to pay attention to the word of God, that keep going and going and going and going. That don't stop. That don't stop. But people get so caught up in unnecessary things. Like I said, they lose themselves. They start to neglect themselves, worrying about other people and other things. Like people do that a lot. They so caught up in what this person is doing, what that celebrity said, how much money this person got, how many cars they got, how many women they sleeping with, how many men they got, how many diamond chains they got, how many phones they got. And you so caught up in following these people around, you lose yourself. You start neglecting yourself. And like I said, I don't mind people being upset with me, but I cut people off for me. People cut me off or stopped dealing with me or got upset with me based around other things and other people. I did it for me. I didn't do it for nobody but me though. I didn't allow money, materialism, family, another person tell me to leave things and people alone. I told me to do that. And that's the thing though. When you get on a journey, the only way your spiritual eye gonna be open is because you're willing to embrace the essence of God. I'm gonna say that again. The only way your spiritual eye could be open if you're willing to embrace the essence of God. You gotta be willing to do that. And another thing, when you get on that journey, you cannot cut corners. You gotta deal everything head on and dead on. Soon as you cut a corner, it's over. So once you take that path and you don't cut no corners and you go deal with this straight, and you don't pay the sideline no mind, you will be rewarded for that. And a lot of times people think reward is money or cars or success or fame or status. No, the reward is that you're spiritually free now. Like the ways of the world and society, it don't have no more bearings and impact in your life. You're spiritually free and God will guide you. And some people may be like, well, how God is going to guide you? The same way that people allow the government to guide them, or a job to guide them, or a man to guide them, or a woman to guide them, or materialism to guide them. Now God will guide you and say, you don't need none of those things. Don't focus on things that man made. Focus on things that I created. Peace of mind, spirituality, being a divine spirit, being a peaceful soul. That's the things that God created. The things that man made, cars, jewelry, clothes, celebrities, things like that. But the things that God create, it can never be duplicated. I'm going to say that again. The things that God created can never be duplicated. Like the sun, like the planet. Should man have made the planet, they would have been made another one. Should man have made the sun, they would have been made another one. But you can't duplicate what God created. So that's why society is the way it is, because they forget the power of God. They forget the strength of God because they think, because they see what man has made, man is strong. And men and women and society is strong. It's just they don't have the strength of God, though. See, this is something else I learned about spirituality. That's how come physically God hasn't given us eternal life, because God understood how selfish we would be. We would really take things more for granted if we had eternal life. That's why when your spirit becomes right and your spirit get aligned with your soul, and your spirituality and your soul is aligned and it get connected with God, you become untouchable. And I don't mean physically, I mean spiritually and psychologically. People won't be able to touch your soul and your spirit no more. Not physically, because a lot of people think physically when I say touch, I mean your spirit and your soul can't be affected and touched by materialistic things in this world no more. It ain't gonna mean nothing to you. And now materialistic things will come to you and it won't mean anything because you know it's temporary. Because life is temporary. Because life is not forever. God don't run out. We do. And that's why people are so unfulfilled, because they wasting the time that God has provided for them. See, I'm fulfilled because I don't waste God's time no more. God can't waste my time because God give me the time that I'm on. That's why it's that saying nowadays, what they say, oh, this person on demon time, because they wasting the time that God has given them. So they could be on demon time now because the time God has given them is wasted. So I'm gonna say that again. That's how come people can say on demon time because they wasted the time that God has given them. So how they going to appreciate anything God has given them? They putting so much unnecessary time and energy into things that they believe fulfill them, and they still empty on the inside. The outside, it look like they fulfilled because they got sneakers, shoes, clothes, jewelry, cars, but they unfulfilled internally. So that becomes the issue. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. They empty on the inside and look like they fulfill from the outside because other people see materialistic things, but internally they empty. And that void can never be fulfilled until their spirit and their soul get aligned correctly with God. And when I learned that, I was so humbled. It was so gratifying because I was homeless. I was living outside. But I'm thankful when I was living outside, I didn't curse nobody. I didn't curse family. I didn't curse friends. I didn't curse coworkers. I blame myself and I asked God to give me an opportunity to redeem myself. And God said to me, I may give you that opportunity, but you may have to crawl on your belly and walk on your knees. Are you willing to do that? And I said, I'm willing to do that. And you can't be upset at nobody no more. You got to blame yourself when things ain't right. Are you willing to go through that? I said, I got to go through whatever you're going to take me to because I understand that you will never give me something I'm unable to handle. And just because I separated away from people, I'm not mad at them. I just understand where I'm at spiritually now, where I'm at psychologically now. But I'm not mad at those people. I love those people. I just need those people to start loving themselves more. I'm going to say it again. I'm not mad at those people. I love those people. I appreciate those people. I need them to start loving themselves more. That's why I do what I do. I'm thankful that I have this podcast because I know that God's people, I'm going to always be able to talk to. And they're going to always be able to talk to me. And whatever interference may come in there, I know they're going to see above that and I'm going to see above that. And I'm so humbled to say that. And I know some of the conversation is going to be awkward at times. Some of the conversation is going to be unorthodox at times, but they still going to embrace it and know how to interpret it because we people of God. And that's rare in these days and times. When you become a person of God, nothing else matters. And weapons against you won't prosper. And again, I don't mean physically. I mean spiritually and psychologically. I'm going to say that again. Weapons against you won't prosper. And I don't mean physically. I mean psychologically, spiritually, mentally. Because everybody think things always got to be physically done to someone. See, a lot of people find themselves in bad spots and end up getting hurt mentally, spiritually, and psychologically because they're not embracing what God has for them. See, I also learned this. I stopped taking things away from myself that God has provided for me. Like I said, it's like Thanksgiving. Every day is Thanksgiving to me because I'm thankful that I could eat. Anything I could eat is a feast. Any gift I get is Christmas to me. And a gift is not literally a materialistic thing. A gift is me being on YouTube right now with somebody responding to what I'm saying. That's a gift that God has sent me. I'm thankful for that. Bless anybody that's listening right now. They're a gift. Bless anybody that's responding. They're a gift. That's a gift that somebody's listening. That's a gift that somebody's responding. That's a blessing. That's gratifying. That's humbling. So I'm thankful for that. That's humbling. So I'm not worrying about getting on here competing with other people. I compete against myself. I challenge me to be better than I was yesterday. I challenge me to be wiser than I was yesterday. I challenge me to be more self-accountable than I was yesterday. I challenge me to be more self-aware than I was yesterday. So I'm thankful that I challenge myself. I compare me to me. I don't compare me to other people. And I pray that other people compare themselves to themselves and stop comparing themselves to other people. Because it's going to always be somebody with more or less. It's going to always be somebody with more money or less money. It's going to always be somebody with more clothes or less clothes. It's going to always be somebody with more food or less food. It's going to always be somebody with a bigger house or a smaller house. But you know what I learned? I ain't worrying about if somebody's more or less in tune with God because I'm in tune with God. That's what's relevant. I'm in tune with God. So if somebody's more in tune with God, we could build. But if they less in tune with God, it's going to be hard to build because they're destroying themselves. They destroying themselves. That's how that go. So like I said, I'm thankful that someone is responding and someone's listening. So to the 5 people or the 6 people or the 7 people, thank you for listening. I appreciate that. And for Lady J responding, she's a gift. And a gift is not materialism. That's another reason why people not in tune with God. Because when you say a gift, they're thinking about materialism. They're thinking about a chain, a watch, a bracelet, a car, a bag, money, shoes, sneakers, clothes, a vacation. See, God don't give gifts like that. God gives spiritual gifts. God give mental gifts. Your mind is free from thinking how everybody else think, from believing what other people believe. I appreciate the gift of having that free mentality, of having a spiritual mentality. That's a priceless gift. You can't pay for that. And I love that because a lot of people can't even afford to receive that gift because they're in spiritual debt with themselves. I'm going to say that again. They can't afford to get those spiritual gifts because they're in spiritual debt. Because they don't want to become one with themselves. They owe themselves the right to do what's right for them. But they keep themselves indebted in other people. Become one with yourself so God can give you your message. See, another thing too about becoming one with yourself and getting your message from God. Thanks to me becoming one with myself more and more every day and getting my message from God, I write my book. I'm the author of my book. So you could write your own Quran. You could write your own Bible. And that don't mean that you're going against God. That just mean that God is giving you your own chapter in his book of life. Because we came from the life that God has given us. I'm going to say that again. God is giving you the opportunity to write your own book. And now you got a chapter in God's book of life because God gave us all life. And that is the key. Understanding that God gave you life so you could write your own book. And now God will put your book as a chapter in his book of life that he gave you. And that's priceless. That's priceless. And that's priceless. Nobody could take that away from you. Nobody could take that away from you. That's why another thing I focus on, I don't judge people at all. Because for one, I don't know their situation. For two, I don't know their circumstances. For three, people say they truly believe in God. How you gonna judge somebody else? How? That's why I made a video called If I Was You Syndrome. I would never tell somebody if I was them what I would do. I'm not them. I don't know their circumstances and their situation. So how I'm gonna tell them if I was them? I ain't them. How you gonna tell somebody what you would do if you was them? Oh, if I was you, I would do this. If that was my kids, I would do this. If that was my woman, I would do this. If that was my man, I would do that. You your own person. So how you gonna tell somebody if you was them what you was do? Nah, you. You know, it's easy for other people to allow people to dictate to them. Dictate to yourself. Start listening to the inner you. And and when your light start to shine, people only want to be in your light so they could dim it. They don't want to be in the light so they could see clearly with you. I'm gonna say that again. People only want to be in your light so they could dim it. They don't want to be in the light so they could see clearly like you. So it's like, oh, all right, I'm in the light, but I'm going to dim it. People don't want things for you, they want it from you. That's why I used to always ask, well, what do you want, for me or from me? And a lot of people want from people, not for them. A lot of people want from people, not for them. And that says a lot. It says a lot. So it makes me understand more to deal with people less and less because I understand that people want from me and not for me. And I used to always ask people that. Well, I'm saying, do you want from me or for me? Because I'm not going to block my blessings worrying about that if you want from me. I want for everybody to understand to themselves so they don't block the blessings that God got for them. Yeah, you gotta let people seek answers on their own. Now, I'm gonna tell you this though, sister. When you get an opportunity, you could go back on some of my live streams and check out some of my older content. I truly believe you'll get some more information similar to this. And again, you're a gift. And the people that's listening, they're a gift. That's how I look at things. And I'm learning through the word of God how not to block my own blessings. I'm learning how not to do that. So I stay humble, I stay grateful. And these things like this is gratifying. I'm thankful for your time. I'm thankful for your effort. I'm thankful for your energy. I appreciate you for sharing this live stream with me. Like what you done and the people out there listening, that's priceless. See, people got to understand we living in the days and time when people always want to complain about what other people doing and not looking at themselves and say, all I got to do is leave it alone. That's all you got to do is leave things and people alone. Your time is important. Value your time. Value your energy. Value your frequency. Value that. Like if people start to treat their time and their energy and their frequency like money, oh, they'll get much further in life. If they started valuing the way they see themselves, they'll have a lot more of a lot more. Realist, salute. What's going on, my brother? Salute, salute. Thanks for tapping in. Realist in the building. Realist in the building. So people got to start valuing their time and change their attitude towards themselves. Like, stop getting mad at other people and get mad at you for allowing yourself to get into a situation with somebody for you to get mad at them. I'm going to say that again. Stop getting mad at other people and be mad at yourself for allowing yourself to get into a situation with someone else. How you get that deep with somebody else? People block their blessings by going back and forth with unwarranted people about unwarranted situations. Don't block your blessings stressing. Don't block your blessings stressing. Stop giving yourself headaches dealing with fakes. Stop giving yourself headaches dealing with fakes. When you're in a relationship, love is not based off money and looks. I'm going to say that again. When you're in a relationship, it's not based off money and looks. It's based off self-control, self-respect, honor, dignity, loyalty. I don't care what relationship you in. So you telling me if you get into a career position, you're not thinking about longevity? When you get into a connection with God, you're not thinking about longevity? When you become a father, it's not longevity involved with that. When you become a mother, it's not longevity in that. So people let their pride and ego get in the way and they don't allow people to invest longevity into situations. That's why I backed out of situations and left them alone. I don't care if I'm criticized. However, if I got into a situation and somebody know this situation is gonna take, for example, if it's dealing with a kid, 21 years, how you expect me to get this right in 2 or 3 years? It's gonna take 21 years, 18 years to possibly get this right. So how am I just gonna limit you because I'm fed up after 5 years, for example, or I'm fed up after 3 years, for example? This situation gonna take 18, 21 years till they be adult or grown to make decisions on their own. So after 3 or 4 years, I'm frustrated how things going. So I'm gonna limit the way that you're gonna put in the effort and energy that you think is best or you deem is best or from the knowledge that you have obtained. It's no handbook how to be a mother or a father or a man or a woman. You gotta learn. And that comes from experience. It don't matter what your dad to tell you or what your mom will tell you or what a teacher will tell you or a reverend to tell you or a deacon to tell you or a pastor or a pope. You got to learn. You got to learn. Just like when you get a job, you don't get experience at no job until you get one. I'm going to say that again. You have experience with no job until you get one. I don't care what that job title is. You don't have no experience with that. So it's the same way when kids are involved. It's the same way when kids are involved. So when you have that kid, you got to learn how to become a mother, how to become a father. You just don't know that. Even if you doing better at it than the father is, or if the father's doing better at it than the mother, that don't mean they know what they're doing. They just know a little bit more than the mother, or you know a little bit more than the father. Okay. But that don't mean that they not being a father. They might not be being the father you want them to be. They might not be being the mother you want them to be, but that don't mean they're not a mother or a father. But this notion that after 3 years or after 5 years, a mother could just be fed up or a father could just be fed up. Like, oh well, no, I'm saying I gave him 5 years to be here for him and for me and his kid. He ain't do a good job. No, he don't know what he doing. Oh, I gave her 5 years to get this thing right with me and my kid. She ain't get it right. Where's the pamphlet on how to be a parent? Where's that at? Just because your parent raised you a certain way or taught you certain things, that don't mean it's gonna apply. Exactly. They want it overnight, or they want it heated up right then and there. And if it don't happen right then and there, oh, you don't know how to be a father. You don't know how to be a mother. That's why I said what I said before about with this whole politician thing and people voting for people. I asked this question and I'm gonna ask it again. Somebody's in debt for $40,000 and they tell the creditors, I could pay back $10,000 a year for the next 4 years, and they end up not paying the $40,000 off. Does it mean A, they don't know how to manage money, B, they a liar, or C, they just mismanaged the money or something came up? So I'm saying it like that to say this. That's what happened when people vote for people. They might have said they could get something done in 4 years, and now that they in that situation, they either overestimate or underestimate the time it would take to get said things done. And now that they in the position, they ain't get it done in the 4 year window. That don't mean that they lied, and that don't mean they didn't know what they was doing. They either undervalued or overestimated how much time it would take to get it done. And again, I'm saying it like that because people vote for people and say, oh, well, this person, they lied. They really don't know how to be a governor, a mayor, a president. Nobody know how to do nothing. We all gotta learn. We gotta learn. And learning take time. Learning take time. When you're a baby, you gotta learn how to walk. You ain't just come out walking. You ain't just come out talking. You ain't just come out with teeth. You gotta learn. Things gotta grow. Things gotta evolve. But again, when it don't fit people narrative, when when it don't fit people narrative, they get frustrated. That's why I don't get this whole thing how women can say men don't know how to be men and men can say women don't know how to be women. Both of those things are false. You have to learn. And when you do learn now, you have to get with somebody who has the mental capacity to allow it to flourish and grow. Not for them, for you. I'm going to say that again. They have to give it time for it to glow and flourish, and not for them, for you. Meaning, when it's a woman, you have to give yourself time to grow to be the woman that you see yourself being. And that man have to allow that to happen. Ditto. When you're a man and you grow to be a man, that woman have to give you time to grow into the man that you see growing for you. If she wants you to be the man that she wants you to be, that's not going to work. If he wants you to be the woman that he wants you to be, that's not going to work. The same thing with being a parent. The same thing with a job or a career or being an entrepreneur. Like that's how that go. But we in the days and time when something don't work, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Who does? That's why life ain't perfect. Who does? Life is you live to learn. And then once you live to learn, you start learning how to live. I'm going to say that again. Life is you live to learn. And once you do that now, once you do that, you learn how to live. But first, you got to live to learn so you can learn how to live. And some people are so selfish towards themselves, they don't give themselves or anyone else the opportunity for things to flourish. That's why I'm by myself and to myself because I have to give myself time to flourish. So I understand the type of man that I need to be, the man that I am, and the man that I'm becoming. So I know where I'm going and I know how to get there. And whoever's going to be there with me, I'm blessed, I'm thankful. But if I got to be there by myself, no problem. But people say, no, you got to do this now. You got to do this my way. Some people don't even know what their way is. They just want to control you because they out of control. Again, that's why I say self-discipline, self-control, self-confidence, self-awareness. Everybody's their own person. Why do we have these tendencies of wanting to control things that's out of our control? We got a job, we want to control our schedule. We got kids, we want to control the mother or the father and the kids and or the money and or the food and or the household. Can't control things that's not in your control. You got to control you. Do that. And that's the problem. You have to control you. Forget looking to control the household, the money, the kid, the man, or the woman. or the car or the wardrobe. Like, okay, if you got you under control, all right. You got the food, you got that, but you can't. I got to control my son, my daughter. I got to control my woman or my man. I control the money. No, control yourself. All those other things gonna fall in place. Yeah, that's right, Lady J. Living and loving. But like I said, based off your comment about the microwave era, is because, again, you have to live and learn so you can learn how to live. And also, like I always say, you have to learn to listen and listen to learn. See, hearing and listening is two different things. Having vision and being able to see is two different things. And people don't understand the difference in things. People compare everything and put everything in one box. Realist, it is a different time. I'm not, that's a fact, my brother. All I'm saying is, though, no matter what time you in, it still applies, though. No matter what time you in, you have to live to learn so you can learn how to live, though. Like, having vision and being able to see is two different things. Listening and hearing is two different things. You hear with your ear, you listen with your brain. I'm going to say that again. You hear with your ear, you listen with your brain. That means when you listening, your mind is open and in tune to interpret and accept the information that's coming to your brain capacity and your brain waves. But when you hearing, that's why people say it went in one ear and out the other, because you was hearing it. But when you listening, you in tune with that. You studying and you learning because you're listening. It's like when parents tell their kids or somebody that of authority say, but you wasn't listening. They say, but you don't listen. It's like when you be in a relationship, your woman to say you don't listen, or your man to say you don't listen. Because that's the difference. Hearing and listening ain't the same. Being able to see and having vision ain't the same thing. A lot of people can see, but they don't got vision. When you got vision, that means you got foresight. You can see things that nobody else paying attention to. But when you see, you just see what's in front of your face. It's like being on the internet. A lot of people know that people could put filters on, but they don't got vision to see that. They see it, but they don't got vision to see that that's a filter. You got to have vision to see that. You got to have vision. You got to be able to listen. See, a lot of people say people, you know, they want information now, or this is the microwave era, like the sister said earlier. People got tolerance to listen to what they want to listen to. People got patience for what they want to have patience for. That's why I said it's easy for people to be selfish to themselves because they're so overwhelmed with other people. That's why I'm not overwhelmed with other people. I'm over. I'm overwhelmed with myself. I got so much that I got to get done. I ain't got time to be studying what other people will do or won't do. I know what I got to be focused on. Whatever people won't do, that's on them. Whatever they will do, God bless them. See, when you got things to do, You don't worry about what other people will do or won't do because you got things to do. That's why I ask the questions I ask. Like, how were people so consumed? Like, okay, let me go here. I watch things, or I have watched things. Like I've watched movies, sports, I've listened to music, but I never ever in my life was concerned with what they was doing when they wasn't doing what they was doing. Meaning, I wasn't worrying about what a person that make music was doing when they wasn't making music. I wasn't worrying about what a basketball player was doing when they wasn't playing basketball. I'm not worried about that. That's giving that person too much energy and too much time and too much of my headspace. How I'm gonna do that? I'm giving that person too much energy, too much of my time, and too much of my headspace. That's foolish of me. Like, why am I worrying about that? Like, I don't care if it's on every media outlet. I don't care if it's on every station. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't worrying about that. And it's not that I'm mad at it. It just, to me, it's foolish. That's what I'm saying. Like, my mind capacity won't let me dawn on something that's foolish. I'm important. So how can I make something that somebody else do more important than me in my life? I don't care what they do. I'm thankful that I could see the greatness and it's on display, but it's not more important than me in my life. I don't even look at it as entertainment no more. It's just something that somebody else is doing. So if they could play basketball, bless them for that. But I'm not that overwhelmed with the way they play basketball that I want to know what they're doing when they're not playing basketball. I don't even know them. I know what they do. And what somebody do don't make them who they are. I'm gonna say that again. What somebody do don't make them who they are. So just because somebody does something, that ain't who they are. So because somebody is a sanitation worker, that means that's who they are. No, that's what they do. Because somebody is an artist, that's what they do. That's not who they are. A lot of people get that twisted too. They mistake because somebody do something, that's who they are. No, that's what they do. Like I'm not into that. Like I'm not worrying about what somebody doing for me to get it twisted as if that's who they are. No, that's just what they do. And a lot of people losing themselves based off that. Let people do what they do, but that don't mean that's who they are. Like what they do is not who they are, but a lot of people assume that. Yeah, drinking water and staying to myself. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work. That'll work. A lot of people assume that. They assume that because what somebody does, they mistake that for who they are. That's not the same thing. Somebody's a doctor. Okay, that's just what they do. That's not who they are. Somebody's a teacher. That's what they do. That's not who they are. Just because they teaching in school, when they leave school or they leave their job, they're not probably teaching when they out and about in their community. They just do that for their occupation. But people speculate all the time. Cause somebody play basketball. Okay, when they not playing basketball, that don't mean that's all they that's all they about. That's not who they are. That's just what they do. People gotta learn how to separate that. Separate from what people do from who they are. You don't know them personally. You know what they do. You don't know them personally. So I understand that. I don't have that twisted. And so many people nowadays, they get so attached to people they don't even know. Yes, you do may like what they do. Nothing wrong with that, but you don't know them. You don't know them. It's what they do, but you don't know them. And that becomes a problem because you don't know them personally. You know what they do though. And that's great, but you don't know them personally. And just because you see them on a regular. So if it's a basketball player, you watch the NBA a lot, you may feel as if you know them, but that's not relevant. You don't know them. No, I appreciate that, Lady J. I appreciate it. Like people do that. Like you don't know them. Like just because you go to church, you don't personally know your pastor or your deacon or your reverend unless you build that relationship with them. You going off what you see. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that don't mean you know that person personally. People be on the internet. People build relationships with people on the internet, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't know them personally. You know what they do, not them. You don't know them, just what they do. What somebody does and who they are is two different people. Somebody's a plumber. That's what they do. That's not who they are. See, I know how to separate and segregate things because you have to take your time so you can live and learn. People don't want to live, or they don't want to learn. See, people are just alive and active. No, 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 no. I'm not. I'm living and I'm learning. I'm not alive and active. A lot of people are like that. They alive and they active. No, I'm actually living. I'm actually living and learning. I'm not alive and active. No, a lot of people are out here like that. They're just alive and they active. I'm living and learning. Every day I learn something. Every day I learn something. How come? Because I'm blessed to be living. I'm blessed to be living. That's how I can learn something every day because I'm thankful. I'm living. I'm not just alive and active. And a lot of people have self-hate. So other people say, well, why people mad at me? Why people hating on me? Because they hate they self. They not satisfied with where they are in life. And this is how I started the stream. They want to blame other people. They want to blame the government. They want to blame other cultures. Oh no, I'm like this because of other people. White people is why we broke. Chinese people is why we don't have any money. Jewish people is why we don't have any self-respect, any self-control. No, I'm the reason I'm broke. I'm the reason I ain't got self-respect. I'm the reason I ain't got self-control. I'm the reason my spirit ain't right. I'm the reason. I don't blame nobody. I'm the reason for how things are. I'm not I'm not blaming nobody for anything. It's my fault. That's why I don't mind being alone. That's why I'm alone. So when things don't work out, it's nobody's fault but mine. So I get it. So I get it. I'm just saying that I pay attention every day, all day. My awareness got to be up. I get into an argument with somebody, I got to hold myself accountable. If should I walk away or when I walk away, now I can look back at the other person because I walked away. But if I argue with them and go back and forth, I gotta be ready for whatever's gonna come my way. Right. We all learn every day, even the babies. But we in these days and time where some people believe that they got all the answers, or when the answers are given to them, you preaching or you don't know this, you don't know that. I do homework and research every day. I don't want nobody to listen to me. Whoever choose to, I'm thankful. But nobody gotta listen to me. Nobody gotta believe me. I'm also analyzing and paying attention to this. When you do what you do, people be so emotional, they want to expose you and exploit you now because they so upset with your message. And I learned this from being a child of God now, that God will send many prophecies and many people that could prophesize. And when you chastise and criticize, you got to be ready for that. That's why I don't chastise and I don't criticize. That's why I don't have no issues with anyone. Yeah, but see, when you alone, a lot of people say you selfish, or a lot of people say you running from your problems, or a lot of people say things. And again, I'm not mad at none of the things that people say. I get it. In the beginning, it was like that for me. It was like that for me. It's not like that for me no more. I get that. I get it. I understand. I used to be like that. Every time somebody say something, I gotta respond. And why they talking about me? And I ain't doing none of that no more. They want to say what they gonna say. It's their mouth. I can't stop them from talking. I don't have control issues like I used to have when it comes to what people would say or how people felt. Let them talk. It's their life. I control what I'm gonna say and what I'm gonna do, not them. So at the end of the day, they can say whatever they want. And that's how things keep perpetuating and things keep happening. Because people say they don't care, they don't care, they don't care. But they always respond back to when somebody says something. You don't care. Don't even respond. Don't waste the energy. See, I'm not worrying about it. I'm not gonna waste the energy. And a lot of people say this, like, the internet is this, or certain communities and certain neighborhoods is this way. It's the people in those communities in those neighborhoods. It's the people on the internet. It's not the internet itself. It's not the neighborhood itself. It's not the community itself. It's the people in it. So people got to understand, man. Like, energy, vibe, frequency, self-respect, self-control, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-awareness. Worry about what you could do. Can't worry about what somebody else will or won't do. That will give you less problems. Worry about how you could better yourself, how you could better your situation, how you could work on self-control, how you could work on self-respect. But if you keep putting pressure on other people to do these things with you or let alone for you, it ain't gonna never happen. But do it for yourself. Put pressure on yourself to do better for you. Stop competing with other people and compete with yourself. People trying to outdo other people, and in the process, they losing themselves. I'm outdoing me. Like I said, I want to be wiser than I was yesterday. I want to have more self-respect, more self-control, more self-confidence. Stop competing with other people. Somebody gonna always have more than you, somebody gonna always have less than you. It don't matter. And that's what matters. That's what matters. But people compete with other people all the time. This is not a competition. It's not a competition. Compete with yourself. When God created mankind, God was competing with himself, though. God wasn't competing with nobody else. All right, let me see how you're going to make this person look. Let me see how you're going to design this person. God competed with himself. Compete with yourself. Stop competing with other people. Where's it getting us? Nowhere. Exactly. Exactly. Don't give people a piece of yourself. Don't do that. So that's relevant. That's relevant. That's how that go. Some people don't get that. Some people don't get it. You got to stay focused and in tune with yourself. You got to do that. You got to do that. Stay focused and in tune with yourself. Like, don't lose yourself worrying about other people and chasing other people. Like, you chasing other people. See, this is something else I learned about when you chase other people. When you start chasing other people, you're running from yourself. I'm gonna say that again. You chasing other people, you running from yourself. You running from you. That's why I said when I look in the mirror, the self-reflection. So you have to get in tune with you. It's not only being in tune with you because you got nice clothes, a nice hairdo, nice car, nice jewelry. No, you get into yourself. You find out what triggers you. You find out what you like, what you dislike. And again, to everybody out there, self-control, self-respect, self-esteem, self-confidence, self-awareness. And I know it's gonna come across as self-absorbed, but you have to be caught up in yourself to know you better than anybody else think they know you. So now you could be able to sit with yourself because you're going to have to do it one day. Like I said, anybody that was able to prophesize or be a prophecy, they had to get things done without people and without things. And that's just facts. So learn how to do that. Learn how to do it. It's not as extreme as it seems. It's not. It's not. Now, on a quick side note, quick PSA. For anybody that tapped in and they didn't hit that subscribe button, make sure you do that. If you care, share. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you got that notification on. So when I go live, tap in. Also, when I drop a pre-recorded video, you could tap in with that. And if you definitely in tune with my programming and what I'm doing, go back on some of the older videos so you can get some gems out of that. You can get some information or some inspiration or some education out of that. And for everybody who tapped in, I want to thank them. Lady J, Rillis, and that was it. Just Lady J and Rillis. So I appreciate it. And anybody that was out there in the bushes, I appreciate you as well. But again, if you didn't subscribe, and if you out there, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you do that. Turn that notification on so when I go live, it'll pop up in your algorithm. And when I drop a pre-recorded, that'll pop up as well. And if you care, you share. And if you do care, you want to share, make sure you share with somebody that's going to be open-minded and they'll be willing to receive the messages, and or they'll give themselves some time to sit through the videos that got some length to them, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever the time length may be. And I appreciate that. And you're not only sharing it to get them the message, you also sharing it so at the end of the day, if they want to come get some of the information, education, and inspiration, they could do that while it's still there and they don't have to go through a lot, because soon I'll be giving out memberships and so on and so forth. And I don't want to twist nobody's arm to have to do that. However, if they could come get the information now, I'll work around the circumstances in the situation. I'm just being honest and expressing and explaining. Exactly, so they could find their true purpose. See, a lot of people don't know their purpose and they need to really get in tune with themselves so they could find their purpose. A lot of people got to find their true purpose. You're right. A lot of people. So let me ask you this, Lady J. So this is your first time tapping into one of my lives. So what do you think about my live stream? Like, you know what I mean? Like what you think about my commentary and you know, overall, just, my live stream for today too. But what you think about my commentary and my live stream overall? Yeah, because, soon, I'm about to shut this live stream down, but I just wanted to know your perspective. And again, thanks to Lady J, thanks to Rillis, and anybody that was in the bushes. Make sure, future reference, you're in the bushes, you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button so the video could go down to a bigger audience. Yeah, so again, I want to thank everybody who tapped in and checked in. I appreciate the love, the support, everything overall. Like I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it. Time, effort, and energy is unmatched. The live streams are going out to a bigger audience, more people are checking in and tapping in. And thanks for everybody correspondence, everybody feedback, everybody awareness, etc. and so on. Like it's very humbling and gratifying for me. Like I sincerely and truly appreciate it. I really do. So before I shut it down, self-respect, self-control, self-awareness, self-confidence. Listen to learn, learn to listen. Keep God first. Pay attention to everything around you and everybody around you. Well, I appreciate you, Lady J. And again, thanks to everybody who tapped in. Everybody have a blessed, safe evening and a blessed, safe night. And to all the mothers out there, if you're hearing this on the playback, it may be Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. Stay blessed, stay humble, stay happy, keep it honest, show and display dignity, honor, and integrity. I'll catch up to y'all on the next live. I appreciate it. God bless. Peace and power to everybody. Peace, world.